Tim Burton is here. His films have established him as one of our best directors. His latest is called Big Fish. Here is the trailer for the film.
In telling the story of my father's life,
Bravo Company, go!
Doesn't always make sense, but that's what kind of story this is.
Big Fish.
Also joining us, two stars of the film, Ewan McGregor and Billy Crudup. I am pleased to have all of them here to talk about The Big Fish. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Tell me about this film and how did you get interested in this book and the translation to movies?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons I was interested is that usually with the studio you need to sort of say what it's about in one sentence or you can't make the movie.
Yeah, right.
So it was nice to actually get a script where you couldn't quite describe it.
There's no way you could do that in one sentence.
Yeah, so you know, those things in Hollywood are rare, I think, and that was one of the things that intrigued me, and just the fact that it sort of put an image to things that I felt was quite difficult to talk about. You know, that weird relationship that you have with your family and parents,
especially fathers and sons.
Yeah.
I mean, so part of the passion you had for it was that story.
Well, yeah, because my father had recently died, and I wasn't very close to him, but it still is has quite a lot of impact, and you kind of think about it, and I always found it very difficult to talk about it, and then this script comes along and it just sort of presents it.
Albert Finney plays Edward, you play the son, and you play the young Edward. What's the story?
I always thought it was about, at its heart, it's a story about a father and a son whose relationship has been severed, that they've fallen out with each other, and it's about the reparation of that relationship.
Yeah. And finding out what's true and not true about the father.
Sure,
the some sense of the stories that the father has told.
Well, and also the fact that that the truth is not necessarily literal. It's like it's all kinds of true.
Right. What is true and what is not true.
It's always been.
Is this different for you? This movie?
Well, it sort of, maybe there was an attempt at some sort of emotional realism that I maybe hadn't quite, dealt with before. Although I always try to, make it emotional. But, I felt like there was some different elements in it for me.
Tell me about young Edward.
The lovely thing for me was I got to play Albert Finney's memory of himself, So the story is Albert's ill, and he's recounting these massive tales and legends that he tells about himself, and so I get the opportunity to go back and to live those out. Yeah. So for me, I love the challenge of trying to make them just slightly large, because they're not fantasy, but they're slightly larger than life. I mean, I always say that, and then it's usually followed the clip of the giant, which is quite clearly fantasy. So, but they're slightly larger than life, Yeah. And he's because my part is his memories of himself. He's one hell of a guy, He's a nice, good guy. He hits home runs and saves the day and saves dogs from burning buildings, and he's a good bloke.
How much of the attraction for you is the director? How much of it is the cast, Finney, Crudup, and others? And how much of it is simply the story that you like?
I like to think it's always the story first and the script. But however, when you're sent a script from Tim Burton, you can't help but colour your reading of the script. You can't.
How does it colour your reading of the script?
Well, because you know Tim's work from the past and hit the brushstroke that he'll put over it, then it informs your reading of the script. I could see the magic in the stories because I could see them. Because I knew Tim's work, there was...
He has a ready vocabulary.
Right.
He's what?
He has a ready vocabulary. You sort of have some notion of how he'll go about telling a story. If not like clearly visual, then in some way it's informed by his aesthetic sense.
Are you one of those people who says, look, just if you want to understand me, look at my movies?
Well, yeah, that's why, I'd rather just show it and let it be cryptic and that's the whole point I always felt with movies is like let people make up their own mind about things.
If I look at your movies, what insights will I have about you?
Well, none, but you might have some strange ones about yourself. I don't know,
All right, roll tape. This is a scene good question, wasn't it?
Yeah, good answer.
An equally good answer.
I try to weasel my way out as
I noticed you
slippery as I can be.
All right. Here is where McGregor talks with Amos Calloway, played by DeVito, about the girl he's going to marry. Here it is.
Yeah.
I know her uncle.
Who is she? Where does she live?
Forget it, kid. Don't waste your time. She's out of your league. You don't have a plan. You don't have a job. You don't have anything except the clothes on your back.
Wait, look, I'll work night and day for you, and you won't have to pay me. You just have to tell me who she is.
Let's get started.
Is this a happy set working with him?
Very much so.
Really?
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
fun set. Crazy
As fun
set.
as you can have in Alabama, yeah. We had some fun.
Alabama. A lot of
we had
fun in
some
Alabama.
Yeah, no, we did. It's great. You
You
know, I
can
mean,
go off and play golf and...
well, it
you can
wasn't.
say-
We did shoot it completely out of order. I mean, I was, you know, you're talking about me, but like I'm very lucky because when you have material that's very tricky, to get a cast like this, it just makes you feel more confident. And, you know, shooting completely out of sequence, you know, these guys would have to come in and do, you know, a heavy emotional scene, you know, and all completely out of order. Or, you know, we were torturing Ewan with something every day, you know, something new. So it was like
saving something.
Saving something.
saving something.
Or just narrowly escaping something myself.
All right, I want to take another look. This is with Billy Crudup, who plays William Bloom, talks with his father. Just to get Finney in here, he's not at this table, talking about the stories that he told. Here it is.
The other 90% is below the water where you can't see it. That's what it is with you, Dad. I have no idea who you are because you've never told me a single fact.
I've told you 1,000 facts. Well, it's what I do. I tell stories.
You tell lies, Dad. You tell amusing lies.
We were talking about this idea while we were watching that. You mentioned Alabama going in. You said location has something to do with what?
Well, it just has to do with the feeling of
Where
it,
you
the
make the
flavor, the extras, the you know, because a lot of the parts you cast are local. So you see people that you wouldn't see, you know, if you were shooting on a soundstage in Los Angeles. And also for the actors, you know, with the accent and all, I think it helps with you to be in that environment.
I think the landscape plays a part in it too. I mean, there's the spooky forest that we creep through, but that could quite easily have been built on a soundstage in LA. But it wasn't. It was in a forest in Alabama, and there's something about the flavour of it all that ends up on the screen. And it's, I think, for me anyway, being a Scot, trying to do the accent, and it helped me a lot being down there, just because you're surrounded by it, and by the spirit of the southern people, I think, as well. No,
That suited this movie very much. So often you find that you're on location. And, for instance, I shot a movie in Montreal that was doubling as New York, so the accent didn't work quite as well. And so I feel like the economic factors play the tedious role in the location more often than not. So it doesn't help you quite as often as it did, I think. Maybe with this one.
Do you have your guys do a lot of rehearsing before you start these movies?
No, I find that at least with these, like the actors on this, and I find that they do their research, you know, we have our conversations, but I find that they just kind of want to it's like an athlete preparing and just get ready and shoot and let, you know, because I think as you over-rehearse it, you're not there. You like the moment of when you're shooting.
Roll tape, last scene.
I think we ought to get you a plant mister so we can just spray you like a fern.
I said, boy, you had a great cast here. I mean, I hadn't seen Jessica Lange.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was amazing. And like I said earlier, we were shooting completely out of sequence, so everybody had a different piece of the puzzle, you know? Yeah. And, you know, some had to be funnier, everybody had to do the mix of both. And it was just such a pleasure to see them all doing their thing, you know? Incredible.
Big Fish opens in L.A. and New York and Toronto. Just those three cities?
Gee, we threw in Toronto in their last minute.
It goes wider, that says here, on December 25th, on Christmas Day. And it'll be nationwide on January 9th. Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks, Eddie. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.